Now, we have done forming 3 different types of possessive case. For singular noun, you put the apostrophe followed by S. Then for plural, many, if more than one girl, more than one horse, then you put the plural noun followed by the apostrophe. And in the third case, plural, men, women, children, to form the possessive, you will put the apostrophe followed by S. Now, I have some more for you. Now, the possessive case is chiefly used. How is it used? There are 3 things that we need to remember. How the possessive case is used. Okay, let's look at how possessive case is used. We are going to look at that now. Okay, in the first case, when a noun denotes some living thing, when the noun is a living thing, then you say, you write it like this. In the first case is, when the noun is a living thing. When the noun is a living thing, then you write it as, you will say, supposing it's a rat, you will say, the rat's tail. You will write, when the noun is a living thing, then the apostrophe is after the word rat's tail. Or you will say, the man's hand, etc. Just for you to remember. Or you will say, supposing the man's hand, the rat's tail, then what can you say? The horse's tail. This is the noun in the case of living thing. Supposing we are not talking, we are talking about personified things as a noun denote duty, England. When you talk about things that personify something, duty is something that you do. So in that case, you will say, duties call. You will say, duties call. This is another way of using the possessive form. Duties call, or you say, England's heroes, or India's. India's heroes. India's heroes. Okay, this is different from what we have learned. In the third case, when a noun denotes time, we are talking about time. When we are talking about time, then the possessive form is different. You'll say, a day's march. Okay, a week's holiday, like a day's. And you put the day and after that apostrophe. A day's march. Or you will say a week's holiday. A week's. You put the apostrophe after. A week's holiday. A week's holidays, whatever. Then you will say meter's length. Meters. Yeah, meters length. Then you will say, a year, I will return in a year's time. In a year's time. in a years, years time. Then we have a pound's weight, a pound. Put pound, apostrophe, weight. And these three are different from what we had done earlier. Now, in the first case, if the noun is a living thing, then you write the apostrophe after the noun. The rat's tail, the man's hand, the baby's ear, or you can say mummy's nose, whatever. You will write the apostrophe after the noun. In the second case, when you're talking about personified, when you're talking about duty, work you do, then you say duty is called. Okay, duty is called. You put the apostrophe and then you put the S. Then you say India's. You put India, apostrophe S. India's heroes or England's children. In the personified form, we talk about duty, India, all that. In the third form, we are talking about time, a day's march, a week's holiday. When you say days, the day you write, and after the day, you put the apostrophe. When you talk about a week's holiday, then you write the week, then the apostrophe, and then S. Week's holidays. Then you say here, India's, rat's, man's. Now, when you talk about time, meters. You put the apostrophe, meter, meters length. In a year's time. Then we have a pound's weight. When we talk about the possessive case in terms of time, you put a day's march, you put the apostrophe after the days. A week's holidays, you write the week, apostrophe followed by S. A week's holidays. When you talk about meter and pound, you put the apostrophe followed by S. In a year's time, you put the apostrophe followed by the year. Now, these are three other different ways of forming possessive case. Where to put the apostrophe and where is the S following. In the first case is the living thing, so the noun followed by apostrophe and followed by S. That is the first. In the second case, when it personificates, we are talking about your duty or you're talking about India, then you say duties, you put the apostrophe followed by S. Again, India's heroes, you put the noun followed by the apostrophe and the S. England's children, put England, apostrophe followed by S and children. And in the third case, we are talking about time. In this case, a days, put the day followed by apostrophe. You put the days, after that the apostrophe follows. Here, a week, the week is plural, you put the apostrophe followed by S. In the case of meter and pound, you put the meter, you put the pound, apostrophe followed by S. Year, again here, put the apostrophe followed by S. We will do few sentences for us to understand these forms of possessive case. We have learnt the possessive case. We will do few sentences and you must put down the correct apostrophe where needed. Write down the following, putting in the possessive case. Put in the possessive case. The woman The woman went to the grocer. Shop. The name of Mrs. Green dog was Blackie. Have you seen my brother in law? Bicycle. We heard the children. We heard the children shout in the distance. Now I have 4 sentences for you, and we need to rewrite to make the possessive form. Okay? We're going to rewrite them these. The first one we have here is, the woman went to grocer shop. So what will you write? The woman went to the, we'll say, grocers. The woman went to the grocers. So you will write grocers. Put an apostrophe outside and you will write as, the woman went to the grocer's shop. Next one we have is, the name of Mrs. Green dog. Green, Mrs. Green. So you will write Green, Mrs. Green's dog. The name of Mrs. Green's dog was Blackie. So, the next one. Have you seen my brother-in-law? My brother-in-laws. Have you seen my brother-in-law becomes laws. Brother-in-laws. Have you seen my brother-in-law's bicycle? And finally, we have here, we heard the children, we heard the children shouts in the distance. We'll say, we heard the children's. We heard the children. We heard the children's shouts the distance. Now let's look at the 4 sentences. Here, grocer. So you say grocers. Mrs. Green, Mrs. Green's dog. Brother-in-law, brother-in-law's bicycle. We heard the children. We heard the children's shouts. Let's read the sentence together. Now, woman went to the grocer. Went to the grocer shop. Then you write it, grocers. Went to the grocer's shop. The name of my Mrs. Green dog was Blackie. The name of Mrs. Green's dog was Blackie. Have you seen my brother-in-law bicycle? So it becomes brother-in-law's. Have you seen my brother-in-law's bicycle? And finally, we heard the children shouts in the distance. We heard the children's shouts in the distance. So we have grocer's shop, Green's dog, brother-in-law's bicycle, and children's shout. Many children are shouting. Children shout. We'll do few more exercise to understand where to put the comma in the possessive case. You have to be very careful in writing it out. We will do few more sentences to put in the possessive case to understand better. Okay? The building, that building is the Women Institute. Mary sits in the ladies' corner. My sister husband is coming to tea. Is coming to tea. Is coming to tea. This is a woman bicycle. Okay, now let's write out the answer. That building, the answer, that building is in the, what is the answer? It's a plural noun, Women's Institute. That building in the Women's Institute. Okay? Next one, we have Mary sits in the ladies' corner. Mary sits in the ladies, in the ladies corner, okay, in the ladies corner. My sister, husband. So you will write my sisters. My sister's husband is coming to tea. Is coming to tea. And then we have this is a woman, singular it is. This is a woman's bicycle. Woman, apostrophe, woman's bicycle. Now look at the sentence. Look at all this. We have done. That building is the plural woman, Women's Institute. My sister sits in the ladies' corner. Ladies' corner. My sister husband. So my sister's husband is coming to tea. This is a woman's bicycle. We'll do one exercise now to affirm what we have learned, the possessive form. Okay? Write down the possessive form of possessive form. Now, the friend of my brothers. How will you write? The friend of my brothers. You will say, what is the other way of saying? My brother's friend. You will say, my brothers. My brother's friend. Okay? My brother's friend. My brother's friend. Okay? Whose friend? The friend of my brother. My brother's friend. Another one. Voices of the pupils. The voices of the pupils. How will you write? The pupils' voices. The pupils' voices. So you will write the pupils, more than one. Okay? The pupils' voices. Next, we have the laughter of the boys. The laughter. Laughter of the boys. How will you write? You will say the boys' laughter. The boys, singular. The boys' laughter. Okay, and next we have the house belongs to the ladies. The house belonging the house belonging to the ladies. So how will you write? The ladies' houses. That will be the ladies' houses. The ladies. The ladies' houses. Next, we have the ornaments of the ladies. The ornaments of the ladies. You can say the ladies' ornaments. The ladies' ornaments. Let's look at these 4 sentences. The friend of my brother's friend, singular. The voices of the pupils plural, pupils' voices. The laughter of the boys laughter, voices, laughter. The boys, many boys are there. So the boys' laughter. The house belonged to the ladies houses. The ornaments of the ladies ornaments. So putting the correct possessive form to the word that we have. Looking at it, whether it is singular or plural. Let's look at the sentences again. My brother's friend. The pupils' voices. The boys' laughter. The ladies' houses and the ladies' ornaments. As we go on doing it, we will learn better. Putting in the correct apostrophe for the possessive form. Now, I will write a sentence for you and underline certain nouns, and we will change that. So again, changing from singular to plural. So what I'll do, I will underline the noun, you change the number of that. Okay? Now, change. We are going to change the number. Change the number of the underlined nouns. Of the underlined nouns. That's what we are going to do now. Going to change the number of the underlined nouns. Now, the first sentence I have here is, the egg was on the plate. The egg was on the plate. On the plate. Now, egg and plate we are going to change. Okay? It says change the number of the underlined noun. Now, egg and plate are underlined. So, what will be the answer? the egg was on the plate. Now, if you change it, you will say the eggs was will change. The eggs were on the plates. The eggs were on the plates. Okay, so let's change this is singular. Now we're going to change it to plural. So how will you write it? The eggs. The eggs, we change, were on the plates. We have made it into plural. The singular nouns, we changed it into plural noun. One egg was on the plate. When you say many eggs were. Okay, next. Next, I have here another sentence. The shepherd took care of the sheep. The shepherd. The shepherd. The shepherd took care. Took care of the sheep. And here the underlined nouns are the shepherd and the sheep. The shepherd took care of the sheep. So what will you say? The shepherds took care of the sheep. The sheep, singular, plural, it remained the same. Okay? So you will say the answer is the shepherds took care of the sheep. That is singular sheep, one sheep, many, 100, or we say sheep. So we are getting practice. Okay. Now, next one. I have here is the roof of the house, the roof of the house. The roof of the house, the roof of the house was broken. Was broken. Now, the nouns we have to change are roof and the house. So, the singular, the roof of the house was broken. So, what will you say? The roofs of the houses. So, what will happen to was? You will say were broken. Now, the roof, the roofs of the houses, was were. You change the verb, were broken. Okay, so singular form, the roof of the house was broken. Singular was. Now, when you change it to plural, the roofs of the houses were broken. Very simple, easy if you read it aloud. The next sentence I have here for you is, please cut the loaf of bread with the knife. Please cut. Please cut the loaf of bread. The loaf of bread with. Please cut the loaf of bread with a knife. And the nouns underlined here are loaf and knife. Okay? One loaf, one knife. How are you going to change it to plural? So you will say, please cut the loaves of bread with knives. You don't say with knives. Or Just say with knives. Please. How will you write? Please cut the loaves. Please cut the loaves. Cut the loaves of bread. One loaf of bread, many loaves of bread. It remains, okay. Please cut the loaves of bread with knives. You take away knives. Knives. So you see the plural form, singular form. Please cut the loaf of bread with a knife. Please cut the loaves of bread with knives. So let's look at the sentences we have done together. The egg was on the plate, singular form. How you make into plural? The eggs were on the plates. And here you have a singular form. The shepherd took care of the sheep. That's in the singular form. We are changing into plural. The shepherds took care of the sheep. That is plural form. Next we have the roof of the house was broken. That's a singular form. And we change into plural. The roof becomes roofs of the houses. Verb changes. Were broken. And we got the plural form here. And the next one, last one we have. Please cut the loaf of bread with a knife. Knife and loaf need to be changed into plural. Please cut the loaves of bread with knives. So you have here singular and you have here plural. So we have learned to change the number of the underlined nouns. But when we are changing, we are also taking care of the verbs. The verb change also is taken care of. We had been changing the singular to plural. Now we will do a short exercise. I'll give you plural form of sentences and we change it into singular. Now, changing the sentences from plural into singular. Change the following sentences. Change these sentences from plural to singular. Sentences from plural to singular. And that's what we are going to do now. Changing the sentences from plural to singular number. Now, the first sentence I have here is, the flowers are beautiful. Okay, the first sentence is, the flowers are beautiful. Look, the flowers are beautiful. And that's a plural form. And we're going to change it into singular. What will you say? Flowers become flower. So you will say the flower. R become S because it is singular. The verb has to be changed. So you will say the flower is beautiful. That's all. Okay. So what will you say? The flower. Flowers become flower. The flower is beautiful. Okay, R becomes S when it is one single flower. The next sentence I have here is, these books are very interesting. These books are very interesting. These books are very interesting. You have here these and books and are. All these need to be changed. So what will you say? This book. This book is. So that will become, this will become this. This book is. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay? So we change these into this. This book is very interesting. And the next sentence I have here for you is, birds build their nest in trees. So the next sentence I have here for you is, birds build. Birds build their nest in trees. Now we're going to make it into singular form. You will say bird. So you will say bird builds the nest in trees. Bird, you will say the bird builds. The verb becomes builds. The bird builds its nest, singular, in, again one tree, one bird, so one tree, in tree. So you will say the bird builds its nest in, you have to put a tree, because one tree, okay, one bird. So bird builds its nest in a tree. Now let's read this and that. The bird builds its nest in a tree. Plural form, birds build their nests in trees. Okay? And then finally I have one more sentence for you. Monkeys have long tails. Monkeys have long tails. You have tails here, have here, monkeys here, a lot of changes. So what will you say singular? Monkey has. Very good. Monkey has, very good, has a long tail. Tails become tail. Monkey has a long tail. Let's look at the sentences once more. Here, what have we done? We are changing the sentences from plural to singular. Before we did singular to plural. Now let's look at it carefully. The first sentence here is, the flowers are beautiful, and that's the plural form. The flowers are beautiful, and we have changed the flowers and the verb form. So you say the flower is beautiful, and that is singular. Okay? In the second sentence we have, these books are very interesting, and that is the plural. The sentence is plural. Now we are going to change it. So you will say this book is, the verb changes here. This book is very interesting. We put it into singular form. And the next sentence we have here is, birds build their nests in trees. Lots of changes to be made because that's a plural form of sentence. So how will you change that? The bird builds its nest in a tree. So that is a singular form of sentence. And finally you have, monkeys have long tails. And here making it, we are going to make it into singular sentence. Monkey has a long tail. That's a singular form. So we learn to change the plural form of sentence into singular form. In this exercise, I'll give you a sentence with 2 verbs. So you have to choose one so that the sentence is correct. So what we are going to practice now is choosing the correct verb form. If it is singular, then it will be plural verb. If it is plural, then it will be a singular verb. You've got to be very careful. By practice, by reading aloud, by speaking aloud, saying aloud, it will become correct. No. So what I'm going to write is, which of the 2 words given in bracket is correct? That you have to check it out. Okay. Which of the 2 words, 2 words I'm going to give you. Which of the 2 words given in brackets is correct? Is correct. So you're going to choose the word, you're going to help yourself, and you're going to learn. Okay? Now, the sentence is, my scissors, first one, my scissors are not very sharp. First, I'll write down everything, then we'll strike off what we do not need. Next. Second one, mathematics. A difficult subject. And in bracket we have S and we have R. Next we have, the hunter shot 3. The hunter shot 3. Another sentence I have here is, her hair, her brown. Her, we have hair, then we have has, another 2 are S and R. But all the words, when it comes to striking off which one, we must be careful. The cattle, the grazing in the field. In the field. And I have words here. Cattle, cattles, and then we have are and is. I give you one more and then we go on to do the correcting of the sentences. Now, 50, 50, sheep, S, R, on the hill. Maybe one more I can give. He gave. He gave her 500 hundreds. Rupees. Okay, let's look at all the sentences I have given you, and now we are going to look at what is correct. Okay, now the first sentence, let's look at it. My scissors are not very sharp. When you say scissors, it's always, it has got two bits, so it's always plural scissors. So you cannot use singular is. You always say glasses, scissors, always are plural because there are two. So here, my scissors are not very sharp. So what we do not need, we're going to cross it out. Okay, here. So my scissors are not very sharp. Okay, so we got that first sentence correct. What is said there? Which of the two words given in the bracket is correct? So are, my scissors are, is correct. The second sentence, mathematics, it's a subject. Mathematics is, are, a difficult subject. Not for all, for some. So mathematics, it's a subject. So mathematics is one subject. You cannot say mathematics are a difficult. Mathematics is one subject. So singular. Mathematics is a. So we do not need are. So that's wrong. It's one subject. Mathematics is a difficult subject. Or it's an easy subject for some. Okay. So correct is mathematics is a difficult subject. Let's look at the third sentence. The hunter shot 3 deers. Here, whether it's 1 deer or 100, you will only say deer, because for singular and plural, we use only deer. So the second word we do not need, that is wrong. Okay? So look at the sentence. The hunter shot 3 deer. That's it. Now, here. Her hair is brown. Now, when you talk about your hair, you cannot count your hair and you cannot say hairs. So, you will say her hair. So, we do not need this. Her hair, you cannot say are, you will always say singular form. Her hair is brown, not are brown, but is brown. It's very tricky. Her hair. Hair is always plural. Is, because it's one person, her. Her hair is brown, or her hair is long, or her hair is black, whatever. The next one we have is the. Cattle, cattles. Cattle is all the animals in the farm. You cannot say cattle, you say kettles, not cattle. So cattle is for number of animals on the farm. So the plural form is cattle and not cattle. You don't need. Now here, the cattle means number. Number of them are more than one. So the cattle are grazing in the field. Are grazing. No, not is grazing. Okay. So the cattle are grazing. Are grazing. So we do not want is. The cattle are grazing in the field. That's how we say it. Now, next one we have here is 50 sheep. Sheep is somewhere sheep came. Yeah, when you have deer, it's singular, no deer. When you have sheep, it is sheep only. Fish, fish only. These things you must remember. So, 50 sheep, 1 sheep, 50 sheep. This is wrong. So, we take that away. So, 50 sheep. This is 50 is big number. So, are. We do not need is. 50 sheep are on the hill. How many you counted on the hill? 50 sheep on the hill. 50 sheep are on the hill. You counted them all. Okay, the last one you have. He gave her 100 rupees, which is correct. He gave her 500 rupees, not hundreds. We will say he gave her 500 rupees. Now, look at that very carefully. Which of the two words in bracket is correct? And we have chosen correctly. My scissors are not very sharp. Mathematics is a difficult subject. The hunter shot 3 deer. Her hair is brown. The cattle are grazing in the field. 50 sheep are on the hill. He gave her 500 rupees. So now we learned to choose the correct verb form. I'll do with you one more exercise for you to practice the choice of correct verb form. If it is singular, plural, and if it is plural, singular verb, you should know only by writing, by doing an exercise that we can. The last exercise for you, do it very carefully. Now, fill in the blanks with one of the two words given in brackets. Fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks with one of the words. One of the two words. One of the two words given in brackets. So what are we going to do? We're going to choose. We're going to fill it up with the words, one of the two words in the bracket. And that's what we are going to do now. Okay? Now, the sentence goes like this. First one, the crowd dash. Okay? No, we'll just was and where. You choose one of that. The crowd was where? Waiting. Waiting. Waiting for the king. Now, here what we are going to do again is, we are going to strike up the word that we do not need. Fill in the blanks with one of the two words given in brackets. We're going to take away the word that we do not need. Okay, let's do it for first one for you. The crowd was waiting for the king. The crowd were. Crowd is already plural, so we need to have singular verb. So you will say the crowd was waiting, and you do not say were waiting. So that's how we are going to proceed with the thing. Okay, we are going to pick up the word, strike of the word we do not need. The next one we are going to do is there. You have two words here, is, are, a class. A class of students. Here. The next is the flock, this flock of birds, this flock of birds is, are, this flock of birds always seen in the morning. Okay, another sentence I have here for you is the family. The family. The family have left the house. Next we have there is a herd of cattle in the field. Then you can write one more. The committee divided in its opinion. I think I can give you one more sentence. The people in the crowd, the people in the crowd were pushing one another. Pushing one another. Now, let's look at it carefully, what all I have done for you, and then we'll choose the correct word. Okay. strike off, we'll take off like the first one, we'll take away what is not needed. The crowd was waiting for the king. Okay? Was waiting because the crowd is plural. So use a singular verb. Now, there are a class of students here. Let's say, there are a class of students here, or there is a class of students here. So what will you say? There is a class of students. There many is a class of students here. So you do not say are. There is a class of students here. The next one, this flock of birds. This flock of birds dash always seen in the morning. So we'll say flock is again plural. This flock of birds are seen in the morning. You cannot say this flock of birds is seen, is wrong. So we take away is. This flock, plural. So plural we use again birds, group of birds. So many birds, so you're using are. So this flock of birds are always seen in the morning. The next, the family left the house. The family, you will say the family have left the house. You will say the family has left the house. You do not say the family have left. The family has, family, number of people in the family. Singular form, the family has left the house. There a herd of cattle in the field. There is, not there are. You will say there is a herd of cattle in the field. Okay, next one. The committee. Committee is number of people. The committee are divided in its opinion. You will say the committee is. This is plural, singular. So the committee is divided. Committee is divided in its opinion. And finally we have the people in the crowd. The people in the crowd was pushing one another. No, you will say people, the crowd is 100, big number. So the people in the crowd were pushing one another. So now we learned singular plural form to choose the correct verb form to make correct changes in the sentences by reading aloud, by writing itself. For the last time, let's read the correct form. The crowd was waiting for the king. There is a class of students here. This flock of birds are always seen in the morning. The family has left the house. There is a herd of cattle in the field. The committee is divided in its opinion. The people in the crowd were pushing one another. Now I am going to write down a few sentences for you, and we are going to pick out whether it's an abstract, common, proper, material, what noun. Okay? Say what kind of noun these are. Say what kind of noun say what kind of noun. And that's what we are going to do. Look at the first sentence. He was happy. He was happy during his childhood. His childhood. Okay? Next, a flock of birds, a flock of birds flew over the clouds. articles. We made articles out of plastic. Out of plastic during a craft class. Next. The birds fly in the sky. The gentleness of the man attracted the children. Now, let's look at the sentences here. What kind of noun? We must say what kind of noun this is. We have, he was happy during his childhood. A flock of birds flew over the clouds. We made articles out of plastic during our craft class. The birds fly in the sky. The gentleness of man attracted the children. Then, Mr. Sam wrote out a play. Mr. Sam wrote out a play. Now, what are we trying to look at? We are trying to say, identify kinds of noun and say what kind it is. Now, he was happy during his childhood. So, we have here happy. Can you look at happiness? Touch? No. So, we have here happy. He was happy during his childhood. Both the words happy and childhood. What are they? What is that? Abstract noun. That is an abstract nouns. So, we learn to identify. One look at it, happy, childhood. All these are abstract noun. Next, we have a flock of birds flew over the clouds. You have flock. What is that flock? Collective noun. Flock is the collective noun. So, I write on the top C for collective noun. Collective. Flock. Now, we have here birds, we have here clouds. Now, birds, cloud, they are common nouns. Any bird, any cloud, fluffy. So, you will say common. This is common noun. CN, common noun. So, we identified collective noun and then we identified abstract noun. We found common nouns. Okay. Okay. Next, we made articles out of plastic during our craft class. When you say plastic, it's a material noun. This is a material. The material noun is plastic, but we also have here class. Any class. This is common noun. Any class. Okay. Next we have the birds fly in the sky. Birds and sky, they are common nouns. Then we have the gentleness of the man attracted children. Gentleness, that's an abstract noun. we have an abstract noun here. Finally, we have Mr. Sam wrote out a play. Mr. Sam, this is a proper noun. Mr. Sam is a proper noun. Now see, what are the kinds of nouns we have done? We have done common nouns. And we have common noun here, sky, birds, common noun. Then what we did? We did proper noun. Mr. Sam is proper noun. Then we have abstract noun. Happy, childhood, gentleness, that abstract noun. And then we have material noun, plastic, material noun. Plastic is material noun. Then we have collective noun, flock of birds, collective noun. So we have done all the nouns here. We have common noun, sky and bird. We have proper noun, Mr. Sam. We have collective noun, flock of birds. We have abstract noun, happy, childhood, and gentleness. We have plastic, material noun. So we learned here to identify, pick out, and say what kind of noun that is. As I told you, we will do exercises, then easy for you to pick out and say what it is. I will do one more exercise for you so that you can identify the kinds of nouns. We are going to do a few more exercises for you to identify different kinds of nouns. Okay? We are going to say what kind of noun we have in these sentences. The first I have here is the dog fell. The dog fell into the pit. The dog fell into the pit. Everyone appreciates. Everyone appreciates her honesty. Then the crowd greeted. The crowd greeted the minister. Bravery is a desirable quality. Mrs. Susan teaches us history. The flowers over the hills looked beautiful. Sita lost her gold chain. A swarm of bees flew into the boy. Swarm of bees flew into the boy. Now, let's read these sentences aloud. We are going to find out, say what kind of noun in these sentences. We are going to find out what kind of noun, and if you found, you must say what. Whether it's common noun, is it proper noun, is it collective noun, material noun, abstract noun. We should be able to identify. Then we know, oh, we have understood the topic. The dog fell into the pit. Okay, now the dog, you have here, pit we have here. Can be any dog, any pit. So dog and pit, they're just common nouns. Okay, so dog and pit are common. You have found common nouns here. Okay, now everyone appreciates her honesty. Honesty, you can only talk about it. So what is that? What noun is that? It is an abstract noun. So we found honesty and it's an abstract. It's an abstract noun. See, in the first sentence, the dog fell into the pit. Dog and pit are common nouns. The second, we have everyone appreciates her honesty. Honesty is an abstract noun. The crowd. Crowd is a collective noun. Crowd is a collective noun. And then we have a minister. That's a common noun. Any minister, common noun. So far we have common noun, pit, common noun, pit, and dog and minister. Honesty, abstract noun, and crowd, we have collective noun. In the fourth sentence, bravery is a desirable quality. Bravery, that is a abstract noun. Bravery is an abstract. It's an abstract noun. In the fifth sentence, you have Mrs. Susan teaches us history. Mrs. Susan is a proper noun and history is also a proper noun. So we have here proper noun. Mrs. Susan teaching us history. Then the flowers over the hill looked beautiful. Now you have flowers, you have hills, they are common nouns. Flowers, common noun, hills, common noun, but you have here something beautiful. That's a abstract noun. Beautiful is an abstract noun. Abstract noun. Now, and then you have Sita lost her gold chain. Sita is a proper noun. Then you have gold, that's a material noun, and chain is a common noun. So you have gold, material noun. Gold is a material noun. Material noun. Now what is left? A swarm of bees flew into the boy. Swarm of bees. Swarm, this is a collective noun. Collective noun. And then you have a boy, that is a common noun. Now let's look at it again. We have got through all the 4 types of noun. Common noun, we have pit and dog, and then you have minister, then you have chain and boy. Next you have proper nouns. You have Mrs. Susan, Sita, history, they are all proper noun. Then you have abstract noun, honesty, then you have bravery, you have beautiful, they are all abstract noun. Now we go to collective noun. We have collective noun, crowd, collective, then we have here swarm of bees. We have 2 collective nouns. Then we have also material noun. Gold is a material noun. We have gone through all the nouns. We have gone through all kinds of nouns. You did very well last time, the sentences. I am going to give you one more set of sentences for us to find out what kind of nouns we have learned, to recollect, to bring to our memory the different kinds of nouns, looking at the sentences I provide. Ornaments are made of silver and gold. Second, the Red Sea is to the east of Egypt. The Red Sea is to the east of Egypt. Next, we saw a herd of cattle We saw a herd of cattle grazing in the field. We saw a herd of cattle grazing in the field. Next, wisdom. Wisdom is better than beauty. The police beat up a mob of people. Ashoka was a just and wise king. The people who live in Holland are called Dutch. Clothes are made of cotton, wool, woolen, and silk. Now let's look at all these sentences and learn for ourselves what kind of sentences, what kind of nouns we have learned. We learned about common noun, proper noun, collective noun, material noun, and we also learned abstract noun. Let's take each sentence by itself and see for ourselves. Now, ornaments are made of silver and gold. Now, silver and gold, they are material nouns. What nouns are they? Material. They are gold and silver. They are material nouns. In the second sentence you have, the Red Sea is to the east of Egypt. Now you have here the Red Sea, that's a proper noun. Egypt, that's a proper noun. So we have two proper nouns in the second sentence. Proper noun. Proper nouns. Let's look at the third sentence. We saw a herd of cattle grazing in the field. Herd of cattle. So that is a collective noun. That is a collective. Herd of cattle is a collective noun. And then we also have field. You see, field is a common noun. Field is a common noun. So in the third sentence you have herd of cattle, collective noun, and you have field, a common noun. Okay, any field. Okay. Now, fourth, wisdom is better than beauty. You can only speak about wisdom, and you have also here beauty. Wisdom and beauty both are abstract nouns. They are abstract nouns. Wisdom and beauty. Next you have the police beat up a mob of people. Mob of people. That is a collective noun. So you have here collective noun in the fifth sentence. Ashoka was a just and wise king. Ashoka is a name of a king, proper noun. So you have here Ashoka, you have proper noun. Then you have here king, you have common noun, but you have just and wise. Both these are abstract nouns. He is a just king, is a wise king. Just and this are abstract noun. So you have this abstract noun. Again, this is abstract noun. In the seventh sentence you have the people who live in Holland are called Dutch. Holland, people of Holland. So this is a proper noun. We can say they are Dutch people. Holland is the place. The people are called Dutch. Both are proper nouns. Proper nouns. And finally, we have the last sentence. Clothes are made of cotton, woolen, silk. These, all the three, cotton, woolen, they're all three are material nouns. What are they? Material. Material nouns. Now let's say, we have material nouns, gold, silver, cotton, woolen, silk. Then we have proper nouns, Red Sea, Egypt, Ashoka, Holland, Dutch, proper nouns. Then we have collective noun, herd of cattle, and we have a mob of people, herd of cattle. We have two collective nouns. Then you have abstract noun, beauty, wisdom, just, wise, all these are abstract nouns. We have also common noun, king, field, we have common nouns also. Now, from this exercise, we have learned to identify and say what noun these are. We have learned common noun, proper noun, collective noun, material and abstract noun. When you do more exercise, you'll be more thorough with the kinds of nouns.